problem solving, decision making, or critical thinking. I don't think any of these skills are as important as the one that I'm going to tell you now. The skill, understanding human nature. This video will be slightly different from rest of my videos because it will touch on a subject that is considered somewhat taboo in our society. Some people might even consider it downright evil to talk about this topic. You will be able to analyze human nature and their flaws, study their weaknesses, and use their emotion against them. Let me tell you this, knowingly or unknowingly, you are already doing it. You are just not good at it. This creates all sort of problems in your workplace, in your relationship, and in your career. This is by far the greatest skill any human can have. And if you can master this, it will bring you untold amount of power and influence upon others. Now, let it see it this way. How much percentage of your life do you think is impacted by other people's action? 10%? 20%? You'll be surprised when I say 70 to 80% of your future is impacted by other people's action. I will give you a second to comprehend this. Let me tell you again, 70% of your time you don't have a control over your future. I'll give you an example of my last interview. The person who interviewed me, his demeanor was unusually serious. At that point, I knew that how I acted in front of him was going to determine my fate. I should be able to match his energy and his emotion. Your ability to understand and respond to people's emotional state could very well determine your fate, regardless of what knowledge you possess. Another example is, how many times have you seen the people who got promoted are not always the most hardworking individuals? Why do you think this is? Most of the time, people who got hired or promoted are the ones who have mastered the understanding of laws of human nature. They have crafted a careful plans to take advantage of human emotions and its flaws. They know their superiors all too well. They know exactly what makes their ego boost or what makes them insecure, and they play with this emotion to the full extent. Most people don't understand or even refuse to understand how much of these things play a role in our day-to-day lives. You might think this is the game of dirty politics, but no matter how much you try, you cannot escape this game. Either be very good at it or get left behind. Humans are not always a rational creature, and our emotion impacts our decision making all the time. We are biologically hardwired to feel emotion and take action based on that emotions. This makes us fundamentally irrational, always acting on our emotions. So what could you do to counteract this? First, you need to understand the basic principle and our flaws embedded within us. Even though you might not be able to control other people's action, but you can do even better. You can understand these flaws, prepare yourself, and take full advantage of it. Now, I won't say it will be an easy task. It will require hours of research and observation, understanding the logic and the reasoning behind their every action. First, you need to find a test subject for your experiment. You need to start experiment with somebody you already know very well. Their strength, their weaknesses. Think about it. Who do you spend most of your time with? Who do you know inside out of? The answer is more simple than you think. It is you. You know pretty much everything about yourself. But just like everybody else, you are an irrational creature too. As I said before, we humans share a similar nature, and it's relatively easy to understand others when you understand yourself. Next time, when you're feeling angry, sad, or happy, I want you to analyze why are you feeling this way. The answer is never straightforward. I want you to look a little bit deeper than the surface level. Yesterday, I got angry with one of my colleagues at work, even though the mistake was very small. Later on, when I analyzed the source of my anger, I found out that it wasn't because of the mistake they made, it was because of my own underlying issues. I hadn't slept well in last few days because of my work, so I took my frustration on somebody else. How many times have you done that? This is why it is very important to understand the root cause of your emotion. And remember, understanding the human nature is not just about gaining power or influence. It's about building better relationships and living a more fulfilling life. So take your time to understand your own emotions. Practice empathy and understanding those around you. You'll be amazed at the positive impact it can have. I'll read a famous quote from a book, The Art of War. It says, "Know yourself and know your enemy, and you shall win 100 battles without a loss." I hope you have enjoyed this video, and only subscribe if you have found it useful. I'll see you next week. Bye.